Again, I understand and I understand the balance between having to get up a lot of threes, but I believe you can't tell you, Luka, or Austin Reeves don't play your game and take those shots in the mid-range or just be you. Certain guys, though,
No, for sure.
you know what I'm saying, who need to
Yeah, for sure.
rely
Need to be
on
in
the
police a
system
little
of the team, who can't create on their own, who can't create those shots on their own. They need to shoot more threes. So I remember we was in a game against Cleveland and George's knee, and he liked to talk a lot of shit. I love George's, but he talked a lot of shit. And he telling me, like, I hit a couple mid-ranges in a row. We down like 15. Like, you need to shoot more threes. I said, no, these dudes around me need to shoot more threes. I need to play my game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I get into this paint, and because y'all gonna collapse on this mid-range and I kick out to one of them, I'm expecting them to shoot the three, not dribble into a mid-range. Like, that don't make no sense. But the best players on the team, you can't turn them into robots.
You're exactly right. So we did a whole episode on this. The mid-range has never been more important. It's just, it has to come from the right dudes. Right?
Exactly.
Like the court is spaced now by the role players.
Exactly.
What do you think they're trying to take away? Threes and layups. So the star has to be able to make mid-range shots, or else the team's not going to be able to score in a playoff situation.
That's simple.
They have to be able to loosen the defense, takes with there. So I think the analytics community would agree with that too.
Yeah, they would.
It's really just, we don't want players X, Y, and Z taking a bunch
down,
of mid-range.
I mean, because the mid-range, I believe, is if you can't find a good shot, we should look for the good shots early, the threes.
Attack the paint.
Attack the paint, try to get layups, try to get threes. But when it's 5 to 6 seconds on the clock, get a ball to the best player. And if he shoot a mid-range at that point, then he shoot a mid-range. But we're not going to waste the clock trying to look for a 3, 2 seconds on the clock, and we giving it to no
Why are you pointing at
disrespect,
me?
Dorian Finney-Smith with 2 seconds on the clock to make a 3. That's not what we, or Royce O'Neal. That's not, I mean, they can hit it for sure, but that's not sustainable offense for us going forward.
It's another thing. What you're also saying is, like, you pass up a good mid-range shot to get a worse shot.
Exactly.
Right? So there's a balance there.
So
I want to touch on the topic because you've been in a lot of different situations. Like, you come into the league, like you said, we was in Seattle early on, and then with your early days, you said I was just shooting a bunch of catch and shoot threes.
Yeah.
That was my game. That's what I was comfortable with. The league was a little bit more
probably
physical.
A lot of twos.
Yeah, probably a lot of twos, running floppy
more
action,
twos.
things of that nature. And obviously, you grew into your own, in OKC days. You started, this is how I'm gonna make my mark. MVP of the league, doing your things. How was the transition though when you went to Golden State to now playing in their, split game action, let's get the ball moving. You still having the freedom to do what the hell you do, but how much of a, adjustment was it for you?
It was pretty easy because up until, let's say James got traded so 2013 to 2016, I feel like those were the only years I was playing like point forward in my whole life. The rest of the time, I'm playing off my teammates. I might mix up a little, get off the rebound and push and make a play. But for the most part, I've been playing off my teammates up until then. And, it's to that whole time period. So it was easy for me to come off a pin down. It's hard for me to have to dribble through 3 or 4 guys and pull up over 2 dudes with a fadeaway. Like you said, we want to be efficient. Playing off your teammates, that's the easiest way to be efficient. I was getting more backdoor cuts, more transition layups on top of the ISOs, on top of the catch and shoot 3. So my game was way more well-rounded in scoring, and it was easier, and I'm way more efficient that way. But I always knew how to play with my teammates, play off my teammates, and the art of scoring is getting the easy points. I always knew that, especially in transition.
It's interesting you think about that Harden trade. It was kind of a decision of the salary cap. It's in Surge, kind of a stretch 4-5, James Harden. And James goes on to be one of the best players of all time.